West Ham seem very, very focused on the outgoings at the moment as opposed to the incomings. Obviously, we know Declan Rice looks set to leave the club. We're kind of flogging Scamacca out as well for around 35 million. They said that if evaluation is met, then he will probably leave the club as well. There is another player who could potentially be leaving, which will be exclusively on the West Ham Way channel, which will be coming fairly soon. But another player who I think it's fairly well known that he would leave the club is Ben Johnson. Now, cast your mind back maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and he was playing brilliantly for us. He was our starting right back, starting fullback, just broke through the first team. Was being hailed as like one of the best academy players. Well, not one of the best, but like a shining academy player for us that has been able to make the jump from there to the first team. Now, since then, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. Obviously, he had a bit of an injury, a reoccurring injury, which I don't think has helped him. We've also brought in fullbacks such as Emerson. Obviously, Soufal has cemented himself in the first team in and around that kind of time. In and around that time. Tilo Kehrer as well. He's come in and he's proved to be a decent right back. And Creswell as well has been very up and down. So Ben Johnson, he's played left back, right back, centre back. And in all that time, I think we've all seen holes in his game. We've all seen that potentially he might not be the Premier League star that we thought he could be. And it looks as though he will be going out the door come the end of the transfer window. Now, I actually agree with this, to be honest. I think we can get a decent fee for him between like 10 and 15 million pounds. I think that's a fair fee for Ben Johnson. I personally think we need to strengthen our fullbacks in the summer. I don't see Johnson as a player who's going to be able to break through to either the centre-back ranks or the fullback ranks. I rank Soufal and Kehrer higher than Johnson. I also rate Creswell and Emerson higher than Johnson. So I'm not really sure what his place is in the West Ham side in the next few years. Now, obviously, he's a player that has really, really impressed me when he broke into the first team for the first time. I thought he was a really, really good find. He looks really good on the ball, defensively aware. Attacking wise, he never really quite made it for me. I always felt like he needed to add that to his game, crossing as well. But defensively, he was brilliant. I remember one of his first few games was against Liverpool, and he kept Mo Salah quiet for most of the game, and he looks a really, really good prospect. And obviously, the left side of our squad has always been the more attacking side, especially like Creswell there on the dead balls. Creswell has a brilliant cross. So to me, it wasn't that bad that he couldn't attack that well because, like I said, we tend to attack through the left-hand side. And obviously, Jarrod Bowen doesn't really need help on the right-hand side. So you get someone like Ben Rama on the left-hand side and he needs to have a player to feed off, to pass it off to so he can make a run. Whereas Jarrod Bowen just makes a run in behind and then tries to score. So it's a little bit different on the right-hand side. You don't need more of an attacking player, which is, again, why I feel like players like Soufal and Kehrer are able to play on that right-hand side, even though I feel like their crossing and attacking is a lot better than Johnson's. But he's not the young player he once was. He's kind of run out of room to grow. 23, 24 years of age. I'm not really sure he's got much more of a ceiling to hit, unfortunately. Obviously, back those 2 years ago, he was a young player. He still had stuff to learn and grow from. And it is a shame, to be fair, because he did have that injury and he struggled to get back into the first team squad. And obviously, if you're not playing first team football, you're going to struggle to improve. You're going to struggle to cement yourself and get that Premier League experience. So I do feel for him. Maybe it's a what if, potentially, if his if his injury didn't happen, would he still be playing fullback for West Ham United? I'm honestly not sure. His versatility as well is something that is going to be annoying to lose. But I don't see the point in putting him out on loan at this point. I feel like if we can get a decent fee for him, he probably should leave. I don't know. I just feel like his time is kind of up at West Ham. Whenever I've seen him come off the bench this season, I have been a little bit wary of him. I feel like he is prone to a mistake. I don't think he really fits the system. So it is with a heavy heart because I love academy graduates. I love that they can get into the first team, and it does feel a lot more sort of pride when you bring a player up through the academy and he makes it into the first team. So I think it's brilliant his career that he's had at West Ham United. It's so difficult to break into the first team, and he's probably one of maybe two players. I think in recent years, in terms of academy prospects, I think he's the only other player besides Declan Rice that has actually been able to get into that first team, been able to play a decent amount of games for us. Obviously, we've seen Ashby leave, Elise leave, Dean Garner. I thought was going to be one of those players, but he obviously got shipped off to West Brom before he was able to make a real mark on the first team. We've seen Odebeku come through, and he sort of dropped off a little bit. Obviously, yeah, I don't know. It is sad for me. It is really sad that he's going to be leaving potentially. But I would sanction the sale if I'm honest. We've got other academy players that I think could come in and do a better job, and I'd also like to see what they can do for the first team. And I think we can get a moderate fee of between 10 to 15 million. But am I being naive? Should we be keeping Ben Johnson? Where would you like to see him play? And if you do agree with me and you do think he wants to be sold, then what fee would you look for him? And I'll see you on the next one.